Alright, welcome everyone to round 6 of the Formula 2, Trackstars Formula 2 series, live all the way from, where are we at? Britain, sorry. Britain, so we're in, all the way, this is a very bad start. But join in the comment box with me is lovely old N Spud. Please take it away, my friend.
Oh, what a perfect start to the stream, DJ. Not knowing where it is, that's funny. But like I said, I will help you out. I'm here to hold your hand and look after you when it comes to the commentary stuff, commentary duties, and where the locations are for our calendar season here at Trackstars. But yes, we are here at Brands Hatch in the lovely location of Kent in England. So I think it's about north of London. So good spot, good locations. It's a very tight, twisty, narrow track. Plenty of actions has gone along here in the past decade, since up to 1986, where the last Formula One race was ever held and was won by Niki Lauda on that occasion for the final time at Brands Hatch. So there's plenty of history behind this track. It became a bit of a location swap between that and Silverstone, when just kind of similar to what the Japanese Grand Prix was like with Fuji and Suzuka. But with a track like this with 9 corners, DJ, at about 4 kilometers long, I mean, what could possibly go wrong, don't you think? What do you think?
What could possibly go wrong? A lot of things. As from practice so far, a lot of things can go wrong. So we've seen it. I've seen it in practice personally myself, and I've also been a victim of it personally. So if you're not kind of focused for this, you can have it go terribly wrong. One little mistake and you can be off in the grass. So it's a very forgiving track if you get it right. But it's also can bite you if you don't get it right. You can always end up in the grass and into the wall. So
absolutely, and you were the previous winner last time out here at for the British Grand Prix here. So obviously, no pressure for you to probably go back to back. But as we get ourselves underway, qualifying is about to start. I believe, yes, I think it is 6 o'clock past the hour, so we are underway for qualifying. So whilst we get those guys driving around and setting some warm-up laps, why don't we get ourselves our lovely track map that has been provided by us by the one and only Jarman Dalitz. It's racing off this beautiful 3.9 kilometre circuit that is located in Kent in England.
Here we are.
So coming into the first corner, Paddock Hill Bend is a nice, fast, sweeping right-handed corner. Take too much entry curb, you spit out into the gravel. Take it too wide, you'll also spit it out into the gravel trap. So a fine line is very key to get that line through perfectly. And then through to Druitt's Bend into turn 2, and then a nice little dab of the brake into turn 3 into Graham Hill Bend. A nice little stretch off the Cooper Straight, where famously enough, where James Hunt actually caused a red flag in 1976, it went straight through to the escape road back into the pit lane to try and restart the race from the pit lane, and he actually won the race in 76, but later on it was counted as disqualified. So, and that race went back to Niki Lauda. But coming into Hawthorne's Bend, it's a nice, fast, flowing corner, all the way flat, DJ. So in these cars as well, they're all going to be flat. And then coming into 6, a nice little tap of the brake. Try and mount that curbing, but not too much, because there is a gravel trap waiting and it's going to be collecting your name. Into 7, through Sheen Curve, a little bit of tarmac on the right-hand side, use a bit of curbing, and then into turn 8 into Stirling. Obviously, again, this track is so narrow, DJ. One fine margin, one slight mistake on the curbing, and you take too much of it, you could be out onto the gravel trap, because there is so much gravel on this track here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, there's that much gravel and that much not much runoff, so can cause a real havoc if you're not careful. But defending champion, look, it's a big thing to come back on, and there is also a bounty this week. So during the week, the series owner and manager himself, Jarman Dalitz, It's Racing, has put a $100 bounty to whoever can stop Diswood. So as we know, he didn't race last weekend, unfortunately, due to Origin. But because of that, he's still 3 in a row, so no one has technically beaten him because he didn't race last week. But yeah, and he's actually double or nothing that, so he's chucked another $100 on there. So there's a $200 bounty for whoever can win this race. But they've classed me as a favourite, but I'm like, well, I might be a favourite, but you're also the one that's 3 in a row. So it's a lot of pressure, but we'll wait and see how we go.
Absolutely, yeah. So 3 wins for Woods, 2 for myself, and there's plenty of favourites down the back of the field that are looking to challenge Woods and myself to make their names on the winners list in the main Formula Track Stars. But as we get ourselves underway for qualifying, we have Lunacy, that's provisional pole position ahead of Griffo Tony from WTCC, Dark 74 in third. Then we have Warpath 360 returning. Warpath 360 after being out from a surgery and a bit of an injury that he picked up after the Porsche Supercup season. So he's been on the out for a few months, but good to see him back on track, and he's running up into 4th. Cylon in 5th place. We've got Rusty Nuts from Robo Sport Racing in 6th place, with Soul Reaper in 7th, and then Ruckworth rounding up the top 8. But it's only early days, DJ, so we don't want to count our chickens yet to see who's going to take pole position. But so far, what I'm seeing some purple sectors from Ando 787 from WTCC, and he could be a threat for pole position this evening.
Yeah, from what I've seen in practice, and obviously he came through, he was fastest in pre-qualifying. He's fit to be fastest, but he's not purple on this lap, so I wonder if he's made a bit of a mistake up the front. But Griffo, his teammate, moves out of the way for him, so we'll come through. We'll just keep an eye on him as he comes through the last corner onto the main straight and see what he can place. So his quickest lap was a 15.6, and he does go fastest with a 7 flat, so he was fastest in pre-qualifying. I think you said he was with a 104.7, so that's for Formula 2, mate, that is a very, very, very fast time.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's setting up the pace with Xylon right behind, Warpath in 3rd, but obviously still early days as we see Warpath have a bit of an excursion there. So it's good to see some of the WRT boys make them have a big appearance here. So we have Warpath, we have Nightwalker, and then Soul Reaper, Tormentor, and even Gordic 69. So 5 WRT boys on the track this evening, and then we also have about 4 WTCCs. So it's good to see in a way that obviously this being a team sport in Formula Racing, but when it comes to Formula 2 racing, where there's no championship points on offer, it's great to see, and it's great to see some commitment for some drivers that possibly could be putting their names out there for a main series, as we have Lunacy set provisional pole position with a 106.8. But yeah, it's good to see some teams make an appearance and throw their names back down on the grid, as we see Hando cross the line again.
Yeah, he's gone very far. He's gone fastest again by 0.022. So he's not that much faster than Lunacy. Or he takes a little bit of an escapade there, and that's exactly what we're saying. Run the tiniest little bit wide, and you can be off in the sand. So that's what they want to be avoiding. Come 6 o'clock. Come their race in just a little over 4 minutes time.
Absolutely, and I feel like that triple right-hander going from Hawthorns all the way down to Sheen, that's where you're going to be wanting to make up most of your time, because it's all flat right-handers with a little bit of lift off and a little dab of the brakes just to get the car turned in, as we see Ando going through Sheen curve. He doesn't take too much of the curbing there, so obviously his car's maybe not balanced enough to take too much curbing, as we see through Sterling's and then into Clark curve as he rounds up that corner for 9 corners off this track. He runs a bit wide, he gets onto the gravel. Oh, he's just saved it there. But let's see what he goes for this lap time. Does he improve his time? He does. It's a 1 minute 6.8. So we're getting about in the 66 seconds mark there. So Ando drifts a little bit wide there, and that could be the end of his qualifying. But do we have any other threats from other drivers coming through? We have Lunacy so far right behind, 1 second behind. So that was a 105 by Ando. I thought it was a 106, but a 105 for Ando, 106 for Lunacy. So a good margin there for Ando, but can anyone make a challenge? We see Nightwalker move up into 3rd place ahead of Xylon, and then Gordic 69, our biggest improver from round 6 back at Austria. And he managed to get himself a wonderful 4th place ahead of his teammate in Soul Reaper in 5th. So good showing by Gordic 69 as well to be up in 5th.
Yeah, the WRT boys are definitely making a little bit of a showing here, but as we just tick over 2 minutes 30, we're starting to see some drivers come in, use some fuel, chuck a new set of rubber on, so they might go faster, which is probably what Lunacy's doing here. So I can tell you the tyre degradation around here is very, very, very high. It's probably one of the highest rated that we've been at all season, and probably one of the highest that we are at the calendar. So I wonder if we might. I don't know if they have the option of hards in F2, do they?
They've got the medium tyres, so whether we have drivers use mediums at the beginning and then go softs at the end, or you see drivers in the midfield go for that softer strategy and maybe just try and charge themselves up through the field. But kind of like Brands Hatch, you could think of it like a Monaco, DJ. It's very tight, very narrow, and it's very limited chances to make an overtake. But there are certain spots down at the end of turns 2 and even towards the back end at Clark Curve.
Yeah, it's from what I noticed last year was it's very hard to overtake anywhere pretty much else except for turn 2. You kind of really just got to send it up the inside really and just hope for the best, because it's realistically like the top of Bathurst. It's kind of just it's a one-way street kind of. You're just in a line and just got to follow the train there. But that's another passing there, as we've seen Griffo go through that corner. So that's also probably maybe the other passing opportunity and last corner. So maybe one definitely at turn 2, and then maybe another 2 if you're lucky, if you got enough speed and enough exit speed. But if you don't have enough exit speed, then you can kiss your pass goodbye, because yeah, it's, as you said, definitely it's very tight and very high running. So
absolutely. So as these guys get themselves ready to finish the end of qualifying, we still got Ando leading the way ahead of Lunacy. Nightwalker, as he just makes contact there. Did he get any damage? No, he didn't actually, but it must have compromised him for his fastest lap time. But one name I'm not seeing in the top 8, DJ, I'm not seeing a Dark 74 there. So where is he? He's actually down in 11th place. So for Dark 74, he's only got about another lap to go through. It's 1 minute 11.2. He's been telling me behind the scenes that he's not really been comfortable with the car and the track conditions so far this evening. So I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of lack of confidence rather, for Dark 74 for his quest to try and reclaim the championship lead that he almost had at the end of Austria, but unfortunately that DNF cost him towards the back end of the race.
Yeah, from the looks of it, he's not liking it at all. Obviously 2.4 seconds off, but Ando did do a very fast lap there on a 5.8, so it's not as fast as we've seen him come through in pre-qualifying and just in practice. So maybe he's a little bit off, or he's just trying to manage those softs a little bit better by not taking so much speed through the corners, because he knows that he's got the speed over Lunacy. But that'll also depend, obviously, strategy-wise. Like, will Lunacy go for the soft medium strategy, the medium soft, or I'm not overly sure. That'll be one to keep an eye on. But drivers are just finishing their laps. We'll just wait and see what Lunacy has to offer. Maybe it might be going a bit faster here.
So as we see Lunacy coming across the line for the final time, just to see if he can make any challenge towards Ando 787. As we say that, he just runs wide, and that's also another danger zone, DJ. Run too wide at Clark Curve, and the grass and the gravel trap will actually spit you out far left. There's no point of return coming back onto the track.
No, yeah. Once you start to get that left rear or left front off in the grass there, there's as you said, no point. Past the point of no return, and you kind of just got to let off the gas, try and hook it in a bit more, and just get back onto it. Otherwise, you're gone for all money.
Absolutely. But as we see drivers like Lunacy, who's actually at the end of round 6 actually did take the championship lead ahead of Sirik and Dark 74. So he came from 3rd to 1st, and he's got himself a 20-point buffer over Xylon 96 in the 23 MSR Formula car, where there is solid positioning for Lunacy to be in 2nd and Xylon right behind him in 4th. So they're basically line astern come the start formation, but it's going to be key for Lunacy or Xylon 96 to make sure that one of those drivers are ahead of each other and come out of this event the championship leader, or whether a new championship leader or whether one driver extends his lead.
Yeah, just by looking at this, he's 1 point. Dargs is 1.7 behind Ando. So from my prediction, that put him in roughly about P6. So I think we might have missed his fastest lap
Ooh.
there. So
Interesting. Okay, so we'll have to make sure all the drivers get themselves on the grid so we can actually see where they are. Because if that's the case, then that is an outstanding lap by Darg74 to put it in a last-ditch effort there. So full credit to Dargs to rejuvenate his championship quest to try and put the pressure on Lunacy and his teammate in Cylon. But as these guys leave the pit lane to get themselves underway, yes, so that is correct. He is in 6th place and right behind. But also, you could say in a way, so positions 2, 4, and 6 are led by the championship leaders in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd there. So they'll all be going line astern there. But the problem is, DJ, they will be on I think they're on the inside actually. So I thought they were on the outside, but they're on the inside of the track. So they could help them if they get a good start.
yeah, 2, 4, and 6. I think they are on the outside.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, from what I've seen on the practice start, they are on the outside. But by the looks of it, that's the grid set. So we've got Ando there on pole position, Lunacy in 2nd, Nightwalker in 3rd. That was he must have put in a quick lap at the end there. So he's jumped up from 6th and 7th all the way up to 3rd, and then Xylon, Rusty, Dargs, Griffo, Gordok, Warpath, Soul Reaper, Slappers, Aussie, Fly Balding, Oz Tormentor, and Rugworth down in 15. So that's a bit of a surprise also down there, seeing Rugworth.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's coming into the championship 4th in the fifth in the standings there. So it's a very big surprise there for Rugworth. I know he hasn't been able to get too much time in for practice, but I think for himself, he'll be looking to try and capitalize on drivers making mistakes.
Yeah, it's you can make one mistake here and it can all come crashing down for you. So the guys up the front might want to kind of really look at consistency more or less than lap speed. So I think that might be one thing that'll definitely play out into their hands for this one. Yep. So 2, 4, and 6 are on the outside there.
There you go. So here we go. We've got ourselves a round 6 here at Trackstars Formula 2 here at the lovely sunny Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. We have Ando 787 on pole position with Lunacy in 2nd. Who will get the jump as we get for those 5 red lights that go out? It is lights out, green flag racing. So a good start by the drivers behind there, but it looks like Ando 787. We see some contact at the back there. I'm not so sure who's been involved there. Looks like Aussie and Warpath 360 there. So Warpath has got a terrible start at the beginning of the commencing of this race. And then we see Rugworth go a little bit too wide into turn 1. And like we said, that corner is very key for when it comes to making an overtake and making mistakes there. But we have some drivers that have been in the thick of it all, but it looks like towards the front of the pack we have Ando leading the way ahead of Lunacy, Nightwalker, and Darg74 has moved up into 4th, and Xylon has dropped all the way down to 8th. So we don't know what's happened to Xylon as he plans to make a move on Gordok 69. Will he make the move stick? No, he backs out of it. So Gordok goes wide, and someone behind him has gone even wider. There's Soul Reaper there, so not a good start from the WRT boys, except for Nightwalker, who is up into 3rd place.
Yeah, by the looks of it at the start there, possibly Soul Reaper or Tormentor made a mistake there and killed Warpath. So I think he might have just been redressing it there. Maybe he might not want to have been in the bad books of the team boss. So maybe he might have just let him pass. But strap your belts down a bit tighter, strap your helmet tighter as well, and keep it going around for the next 25 laps. So 26 laps isn't too long around here. It's only about 25-30 minutes, so it's going to be a very long 28, 29, 30 minutes for these guys, obviously being such a small track and having to be switched on for every single part of it because you don't really have much of a break except for going up the back straight. But it looks like Ando's checked out very slightly here. But another thing as well is the pit stop time. It is very short as well, so maybe that will come into play in regards to the undercut, the overcut, because if you get the undercut right, it may pay off quite a lot.
Absolutely, and I wonder if drivers might be thinking that if they want to go for maybe even a 2-stopper and take advantage of that, because like you said, the pit stop time is incredibly short. It basically reminds me of the time where back in Suzuka and GT Sport used to only be 4 seconds, and then basically you'd be back in the same position where you left the pit lane, so when you entered the pit lane. So I wonder if maybe some drivers, maybe especially Ando or Lunacy, maybe they might be thinking, you know, we can go for a simple 1-stop, but I might make it interesting, maybe a 2-stop where they can go mediums to softs and softs, depending on what their strategy is. You never know, we could see a 2-stopper, but as we look towards a Lunacy in second place, we have Nightwalker right behind, with Dargs in fourth place, Rusty in fifth, and Balding. So fifth and sixth for the Robo Sport boys. In fifth and sixth place, when Rusty ahead of his teammate in Fly Balding. We have Gordok and Griffo in seventh and eighth place. Zyla 96 just keeps tumbling down the order, so he's not finding the same consistency. Last round's race winner in Zyla 96 over Lunacy. He's struggling to find the pace here with Warpath trying to make amends as he tries to make a move on Aussie. Does he make that stick? No, he doesn't. So the clashing of tyres. I wonder if Warpath is going to give that move up. He's trying to give that position back, but Slappers, mate, has been involved there, and Slappers has got himself a bit of damage there, DJ.
Yeah. Oh, he's ignored it. He's got a penalty. They've got a penalty there. So there must have been a yellow flag there. That's unfortunate for that penalty. That's saying ignoring a yellow flag. So that was Warpath letting them both pass. The yellow flags come out and they've passed him. So that's a very unfortunate there. But that's an in-game ruling. That'll serve the penalty themselves. We can't kind of overrule that. That might be a bit of leniency there. We can possibly give them back at the end of the race, but we'll see how that plays out and where they finish and whatnot. So it's a bit unfortunate there, but maybe Warpath might back off when they do serve their penalties, but we'll wait and see how it all plays out.
But that all plays back into the hands of Xylem, because he was getting pressured there by the guys back in 9th and 10th and 11th. So it's a bit of a let off there, as we see Fly Balding also have an off there. So 1 minute 32 lap. He looks like he didn't go into the pit lane either. So a mistake though by Fly Balding, and like this track is, DJ, one mistake and basically you dip a tyre on the grass or into the gravel, and yep, around you go, and there's no point of return. And look what happened to Balding in that instance.
Yeah, exactly. And I did get some comments from Lunacy before the race saying he's Ando on the right power and weight. Well, sadly, my friend, it's only restricted to F2 series. So yes, he is on the power and weight, but that's nothing to worry about because Ando is not in the championship fight. He's only on a 5-round basis. So he's, from what I remember, he's only done 2 rounds. So Lunacy kind of really only needs to worry about Dargs and Xylem at the moment, but if I was him, I would just let Ando run away with it. It's only one position, so
absolutely, and it's only about he's got himself 2 positions ahead of Dargs, and he's like even a further 5 positions ahead of Xylem. So the 2 MSR boys need to try and figure out a plan B or a plan C to try and see if they can claw back towards Lunacy. But obviously, early days, we only got ourselves about 11 laps of racing to go here, but we still have Ando leading the way from WTCC. Obviously, a familiar name in track stars, and wherever he races, he'll always be around there and always be a bit of a pain. But he's always a very competitive driver. But we have Ando ahead of Lunacy, ahead of Nightwalker, who's keeping very consistent. Dargs in 4th and Rusty in 5th place. Gordok again putting in another stellar performance in 6th place there. So obviously trying to keep that momentum from last round back in Austria, and he's up into 6th place, and he'll be looking to pick up the pieces if there's any mistakes ahead of him within those 5 positions ahead of him. So if Gorda can put another stellar performance, he might be back for F2 racing for the second week running. But unless Ando, this driver here, makes one very big mistake, then I don't think that'll be the case.
Yeah, but from my history in practice, those softs are about to die on Ando, so you might want to be very, very, very careful because you can see the tyre wear. But that also plays out into Nightwalker and Gordok's hands because they are both on the medium. So will they double stint the mediums to say around lap kind of what are we looking at, 15-ish roughly, and then they got to run 9 laps on the softs. So I reckon they might do a bit of a double. Oh, Ando gets a really taily there, so that's a little bit of a mistake. And that's, as I said, the tyre's starting to wear on him. So he might want to keep an eye out on that because coming up here onto this fast right-hander, if those tyres are wearing, you're not going to have much rear grip there, and you're going to say kiss your luck goodbye and put it in the fence. So we'll just keep an eye and see if he's still... Yeah, he's starting to let off around there, so you can see that tyre wear is really starting to pay there. But Lunacy's fronts are wearing a lot more than what Ando's are as well. So maybe that's something that Gordok... Even Xylan's on the mediums too, but he doesn't have as much wear. So maybe that might pay off in the long run.
Exactly. He's got himself about 5 seconds to try and catch up to Gordok, but I think he's just trying to preserve his tyres, save them, so he can run a little bit longer, run that strategy like you mentioned, DJ, and just maybe go for that 9-lap sprint towards the finish, because the drive for each compound in Formula 2 around this track. So for Xylan, probably just trying to get some consistency and maybe try and put himself a charge towards the front runners. As we see Ando 787 lose the lead to Lunacy, so something's happened towards the front there, and Ando, as we predicted, a 1 minute 20, he's gone from first down to second there, and like you said, DJ, those soft tyres aren't working for him, and he has to do one more lap before he can actually pit onto medium tyres.
Yeah, well, Lunacy has to as well, so maybe Lunacy's taking the more careful option. We'll just keep an eye on him. We'll see if he lets off around here. Oh, he keeps it flat around there, so maybe that's where his tune might be a bit different there, because Ando goes flat. He's a little bit laggy, but yeah, he's really paid off. That was about a 12 to 15 second error there, because Ando had about a 6.5 second gap. Oh, he's made another mistake!
Oh, a mistake again for Ando 787. That's twice in 2 laps. Oh, he nearly collects Dogs, and Rusty tries to go around the end. But my goodness, that is twice in a row for Ando 787. He's not liking these tyres at all. Those tyres are going off for Ando, and he wants to say, get me off these tyres, because I can't stand it anymore. But he needs to do one more lap before he can switch over to the medium tyres, unless he decides to pit now and maybe do a 2-stop. And no, he will stay out, so he will be doing the right thing. But twice in a row, DJ, that's very unlike Ando for him to make 2 mistakes in 2 laps. As we see yellow flags here, it is... none of the front runners there, must be a back marker in warpath 3s. So what goes from a nice recovery, a good pre-qualifying for warpath 360, that's all fallen down the drain in the main F2 lobby. It just looks like it's going from bad to worse. Looks like he might be coming towards a halt and a retirement there. But yeah, we're going to talk about Ando, DJ. That's unlike him at all.
Yeah, that is very unlike Ando there. But I'm just curious on. So Lunacy's really put in the paces here, so he's got a 9-second gap over Nightwalker. So if he pits here, he'll come out in second place. Oh, he's going again. He's really testing those softs.
He's gonna make the bold move, because Nightwalker's right behind him on medium tyres, like you said. So Nightwalker's gonna really try and push to close that gap over Lunacy, with Dargs, Rusty, and Ando in the top 5. Gordok 69, not too far behind, 2.4, and Silence closed the gap towards Gordok as well, about 3.9 seconds behind him. So it's all about these front runners, as Ando finally does come in. So like we said, he wanted to get off these tyres, and looks like now is the right time. But will he be ahead of Cylon 96 when he comes out of the pit lane? I don't think so, but crucially, he'll be ahead of his teammate in Slappers 117 and will still maintain 7th place.
Yeah, that's a very costly few mistakes there from Ando, and he did pick up some aero damage as well, so that might have been not helped his lap time. So he's done 3 slow laps there. He's done a 117 as well, so that's, as you said, very unlike Ando. Ando's not one to make mistakes, and he's usually pretty good on his strategies and stuff like that. Obviously, with my experience racing in WTCC, stuff like that, his experience with that kind of stuff is definitely probably one of the best I've seen over my, say, 2 years in league racing. So I'm very surprised with that one. But now he's got the fresh mediums and Xylan's got the used medium. So I wonder if Ando's going to try and put his head down and hunt back for that 6th position there.
Yeah, because it's like you said, with Ando, he's always very good with strategy calls when it comes to quality racing, and when it comes to thinking about the performances and actual race result, race timing. He actually manages to pull away and manages to find that extra bit of pace out of nowhere compared to practice. So he's definitely been putting in a lot of effort when it comes to preparations for the race meetings, but unfortunately for this one, it's just ruined him. He's all the way down into 7th place, but obviously he made a pit stop, so he looks like he'll be going towards the end. But we have to keep an eye on Lunacy here, so I want to see what Lunacy does when it comes. Will he actually pit this lap? Because he's got himself a very comfortable margin over Nightwalker. He could probably say, right, I might pit this lap, but he actually, oh, yeah, you go, he actually does. So Lunacy will be pitting ahead of Nightwalker, and looks like he may keep first place there unless Nightwalker has a really good push lap in this one. Maybe use a bit of overtake to try and get over Lunacy, but it looks like Lunacy's leaving the pits now. Does Nightwalker take first place as Nightwalker goes around the outside? That is Rugworth. Bit of contact made between Rugworth and Lunacy, and Nightwalker's just trying to come through. Does he make the move on Lunacy? No, he doesn't. Lunacy runs a bit wide, and we have to see Nightwalker and Lunacy, and we see Nightwalker ahead of Lunacy. So that was a very fine margins there, but Lunacy lost all of that on the exit of pit lane, especially when it came with him and Rugworth. But Nightwalker takes the lead, provisional lead of the British Grand Prix ahead of Lunacy and Rusty Nuts in third place. Obviously, he made a move over Dark 74, but yeah, obviously for Nightwalker, DJ, it's not going to be a long time for him to keep the lead there, but obviously good for him for his stats to try and keep second place.
Yeah, that's definitely a solid move there that probably needed to happen for Nightwalker. Now he's got the track position, and obviously around Brands Hatch, track position is key, because if you do lose track position, it can all go down the drain for you as Lunacy starts to get on the overtake there. He doesn't need to do that. He's on fresh mediums, Nightwalker's on U's, so we'll wait and see what Lunacy's lap times are like here on the mediums once he gets into that rhythm and they start to warm up. But Dargs has actually gone in for a pit, so he's got a fresh set of rubber on, so he's chucked on the mediums there. But
okay, there you go.
I'm just curious on how long these drivers on the mediums are going to last. I'm predicting probably say lap 15, 16-ish roughly, hopefully, if they can make it there. But
yeah, and you can see Ando there in 6th place. He's obviously made a move on Cylon, and now he's actually about to make a move on Gordok. So probably we'll see a persistent change between Ando and Gordok at the end of lap 13 here. So yeah, you can definitely tell fresh mediums compared to worn mediums. As you can see, the big difference there, and contact has been made, be it from bumper to rear end, between Gordok and Ando. Whoa, that was so close between those drivers there, but Ando's got so much more pace, and looks like Gordok's trying to go defensive. No, he doesn't. He's going to concede that position and give that to Ando.
Yeah, now Ando's on the hunt for 4th there. You can see you're only 4.4 seconds up the road. Our tyres are the same. I know I'm faster than you. This positions, I'm going to hunt for that. But if you're continually pushing around this place, you can definitely use all your brain power and possibly the power out of the car. So it might be a big halt here for Ando to make that spot there, but Dargs is probably just wanting to be consistent there. As I said earlier, for Lunacy, same thing. Ando's not in the title fight there, so realistically, for Lunacy, Dargs and Xylon's sake, just let Ando go and get the next position points. Obviously, it's not that great in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, it's a lot better than trying to get tangled and worry about winning the race as such as what would track position and valuable points be.
Absolutely. So it looks like it's very important for Dargs to at least try and keep touching distance between his main competitive championship rivals in Lunacy and Nightwalker, as we do see Lunacy actually finally make the move on Nightwalker 964 to retake the lead of the British Grand Prix. So we've seen some new drivers take victories ahead of Cylon 96. We saw Slapper's mate 117 take victory back at the Nürburgring Grand Prix, but we haven't seen Lunacy take a victory yet. So could this be the round that he finally takes his maiden victory in Formula 2 before he makes his return into the main series, into the Formula Track Stars later this evening? So the super sub in Lunacy doing the wonders in Formula 2, possibly going to be leading the championship in Formula 2 and then backing it up with main series racing. So all things going well for Lunacy so far this year in Formula racing, DJ.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously coming from a team of Project One there, he is obviously the sole driver from Project One, but they are managed by Viper Z, so maybe Viper Z's helping Lunacy out there. But yeah, he's been the super sub for Satellite and for CP last week, I think it was. So yep. that was definitely a strong fill-in there for Chase in the number 66. So he, over the last couple of weeks, he has had a lot of speed. Like I've felt threatened. Obviously, I'm not the fastest, but I've definitely felt threatened by Lunacy. But just for me, I think he has the pace there, but he just tries to overuse it that little tiny bit, which obviously might be a little bit of a downfall there for him. So if he can just kind of pull it back a little bit, try and capitalise on that overall pace that he has, he might be able to get a couple more wins under his belt. Because obviously we did see at Red Bull Ring, he did make a few mistakes, and he was considerably faster than a lot of the other F2 drivers last week.
Yeah, he's definitely beaten one for the wet conditions. Has lunacy, especially in main series, even especially back in the Nürburgring, both events where he was looking to be one of the faster drivers. But unfortunately for him, as we see Ando make another mistake there, and has he got damage on the rear? It looks like he has. So
he has rear and Dargs has front. So I'm assuming that him and Dargs may have come together there. Maybe Dargs has possibly missed a brake marker, pushed Ando off, and he's lost track position there. So that's very unfortunate there. But now he's got Xylon to worry about. But Xylon is on the used medium. So we'll wait and see when the drivers are starting to come in for pit, which we should be seeing at the end of this lap.
At the end of this lap or within the next lap, so we get about 9 laps of racing there. But yeah, that's a bit of a weird one for Endo there. So from the fastest pre-qualified, as we see Styler 96 have a huge mistake there, so that probably means that his tyres are gone as we see Nightwalker come into the pit lane there. But it looks like that's what can happen when you use those medium tyres for so long. That one little slight mistake and then you are gone out wide there. But Nightwalker comes out and he still keeps second place there, so very good strategy from the WRT boys. But we have to make sure we keep that eye on Xylon if he actually makes it into the pit lane, because it's very important. Yeah, you can see still got a bit of damage there, so that'll disappear thanks to the light damage modeling. But yeah, he's going to be coming into the pit lane and he'll be furious at that with that mistake.
Yeah, he stayed out there, so Slappers has come in, Gordok's come in as well, so we'll see Xylon should jump Gordok on the exit here into turn 1. Oh, he's just behind him there. Oh, he's gone around the outside, so I wonder if he can make the move stick. But yeah, he will drop behind him come his pit stop. Oh, Gordok!
Tap there between Gordok and Gordok's look. He's going to give that position. Yes, he does. So very well played, Gordok, readdressing that situation. But I'm surprised at why Xylon did not actually pit there. Obviously, he would have lost a lot of ground. Yes, that is very true, but he's losing time there, and you can see Gordok with the fresh rubber, especially on the soft tyres. He's going to be hounding the arse of the MSR car, and he's going to be making sure that he makes that move, and he's got using good use of the overtake, and Gordok 69 takes that 6th place away from Xylon. So Xylon really needs to get himself into the pit lane because he's losing time hands over fist.
Yeah, and he's on the limit there, so he does need to make that change there very shortly for those new set of rubber. But Ando's starting to come on the back here. Rusty Nuts, who's that at the back? It's just Tormentor moving over. So these guys are obeying the blue flags, which is very good to see. Obviously they feel that they're not as fast and the front runners are coming through, so they are obeying the blue flags, which is very good and makes our job a lot easier. So we'll see Aussie should obey one here as Xylon jumps in the pits to chuck a fresh set of rubber on, which will be the soft tyre. So we'll see where he comes out and how long those softs last for him.
Absolutely, so he's got himself a good gap between himself and Aussie, but he's got himself all the way down into 9th place, and he was high up as 6th place there, DJ. So the race to forget for the MSR driver in Xylon, who was 2nd in the championship, but one for Dark 74 to actually try and get one up on his teammate there. So if he can keep that podium position, but he knows he's got a fast driver in Ando 787 right behind him, and we're not so sure what happened between Dargs and Ando because they both got damaged, one Ando in the rear and Dargs on the front, so it may have been contact between those drivers, we're not so sure, as Ando just drifts a little bit wide there, but I think that must have been a bit of lag there. But they've got themselves a comfortable margin over Gordok as well, so the top 5 have definitely run away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, definitely. Even Lunacy's run away from 2nd there, so he's got an 11.5. So he'd if he gets to the 9 lap mark, he might be able to 9 laps. He might be able to chuck a new fresh set of mediums on and still run to the end in front. But Nightwalker is on the softs, so do you keep playing out? Because you can see that time come down. So he's gone to 10.6, 10.5. So that soft pace is there, but how long is that pace there for? Obviously, because the tyre degradation we've seen so far is very high. I'd rate it probably one of the highest that we do visit throughout the season. Yeah,
I believe so too, because those rears will definitely be definitely those rears will be the worst of them all, because especially when you get on the soft tyres after 5-6 laps, you can definitely feel it. And we saw it with Ando, you know, a driver that doesn't make mistakes. It looks like he's coming to the pit lane now, so he wants to get off the medium tyres. But I wonder if the question is, has he actually, I wonder if he actually has done 9 laps. I believe so. I think he did come in at the end of lap 9, and he's come into the end of lap 19. So he's done the alternate strategy. So this is what I was talking about, DJ. He's gone onto a soft tyre compound to try and finish the race off. So he's going to look to try and make some moves and try and catch up to the back of Rusty Nuts and Dark 74. So we see some yellow flags there, and there's a back marker there, and I believe Warpath. Yes, it was. So yeah, not the race that Warpath wants to remember. But what I can say, DJ, is you finally got your cameras back up and running there. So we'll see if we can go for an onboard lap with Lunacy taking the lead of the British Grand Prix coming into turn 1. So we'll keep an eye on Lunacy's pace and see where he ends up between himself and Nightwalker 964. That's all it takes, DJ. It's a funny number. It takes him 69 seconds to complete that 21st lap there. So one for Papa to be happy about in the when he sees it from the commentary box's point of view. But he gets himself a 3-second penalty for not obeying the yellow flags there. So that's a bit of an issue there for Lunacy. And I guess the game thinks that Lunacy did not lift off the braking, did not lift off the throttle there to actually concede that. But it looks like, but we see this, DJ, Nightwalker is right behind about almost 8 seconds behind Lunacy there, and that plus that 3 seconds is going to be very close come towards the end of the race.
Yeah, that's obviously one to worry about there, because that was a back marker he was passing. So that's, I don't know if that would kind of really can kind of contest that, or just kind of back off there and just wait until you get past the to the yellow flags there. But he's serving that 3-second penalty. We'll wait and see where Nightwalker is.
So Nightwalker's right there. He's right on the same stretch of tarmac that he can see Lunacy there, and he's coming. The Lunacy's come through to Clark Curve now. Whereas Nightwalker, he's coming through to Clark Curve now. So it's about 4 seconds between Lunacy and Nightwalker. We're probably set up for a nice battle here, but we have to make sure that he doesn't get held up by Aussie in 9th place from WTCC. So we see yellow flags ahead of them. Hopefully that's not Lunacy. We don't think so. But try not to make an overtake there as he's tries to avoid not getting another 3 seconds. But yeah, it looks like Lunacy has done the right thing this time, actually let off the throttle and actually gone up did let off the throttle to make sure he gets that move stick. But we've got Lunacy ahead of Nightwalker, about 4.3 seconds between the two drivers. Then we have Dark 74, Ando 787 on that alternate strategy is coming through thick and fast. And he's actually right behind Dark 74 there. So we're going to see that move very thin with Dark 74 trying to go on the defensive there between him and Ando 787. Will Ando stick it out, and we have to hold on to get to the Pilgrim drop into Hawthorne. They're going to go side by side through Pilgrim drop and into turn 5. Who's going to have a lot of overtake there? They're going to go flying through. Will Ando make it around the outside? It looks like he has. No. A contact has been made again. And between these two drivers, that's twice in a row between Dargs and Ando 787. Those two have gone biff and barge between each other, DJ. And it hasn't worked for Ando 787 again.
Yeah, that's something that might be reported there at the end, but by the looks of it, Dargs drifted a little bit wide there. If not, Ando was on the marbles, and I don't know about you, Spud, but if you're definitely on the marbles in this game, it does take a toll and you do lose a lot of grip out there. It is different to GT Sport. The tyre modelling and track grip and stuff like that definitely pays dividends to you. But he has caught back up on the darks there with no issue about that. But that is because he is on the alternate strategy and on the soft. So,
a bit of contact between Ando, so they're going out through thick and fast there. Obviously, Ando's conceded that position because he knows that was a little bit too aggressive on Dark 74. They've got himself a 3-lap, and this is going to be a classic duel between Ando 787 and Dark 74. But we're going to try it again. Ando's going to try and go around the outside. Doesn't get himself a good car's width ahead of him. He does, and he goes flat into 3rd place there. So he's finally made the move on Dark 74. What a nice move there for Ando 787 over Dark 74. But as we see there, a driver in the background has gone off of that is flyboarding there. So for guys like flyboarding, and even we saw Gordok 69 DJ have that there. So for those drivers that are looking up into the top 5, it's gone from bad to worse actually. So, and that's helped Rugworth move himself up into 11th. Then we have who's in 10th place? That is Slappers, is it?
Griffo.
No, Griffo. Griffo in 10th. Then we have Aussie in 9th. And then we have Soul Reaper in 8th with Cylon in 7th. And then in 6th place, we have Slappers Mate 117 with Rusty Nuts in 5th, Dargs in 4th, Ando in 3rd. And then Nightwalker and Lunacy occupying the top 2 in the positionings. But this has been a great race for Lunacy here. So, no mistakes there. Made the move, kept his calm, and when Ando pushed too hard, Lunacy was there to capitalise.
Yeah, as we see Lunacy come around the last corner there to start the final lap of this British Trackstars Formula 2 Championship. Will Lunacy get his first win? That is the question. Fingers crossed he doesn't get commentator's curse, because we have seen that happen at the last probably 3 rounds. So fingers crossed nothing happens there. Warpath gets a 3-second penalty. Not sure what that's for. I did see him coming out of the pit, so I'd say it would be a crossing the pit exit line. Yeah, the alternate strategy as well for Nightwalker looks like it did work out for him in the end, running the mediums and softs. So that's
so probably maybe one for the main series boys to keep an eye on. So whether they go for a harder compound and then go towards the end on the softer compound, but we'll wait and see as we get that underway in about an hour and a half time between the Formula Trackstars. Can anybody stop Diswood from getting 3 wins, from getting 4 on the trot? Can anyone stop Lunacy here in Formula 2 here? He's got himself a very comfortable margin as he comes through Stirling through the final time here, and it's been a clean race as possible for Lunacy, and he's about to come around the final corner into Clark Curve. Make sure he keeps it on the tarmac, and he does. Just tries to push the boundaries there, DJ, but he's come through, and he has taken the victory here for round 6. And Trackstars Formula 2, the winner, Lunacy for the Project 1 racing team, and Nightwalker, back-to-back podiums for the WRT drivers. So great performance by Nightwalker, and Ando 787 with the 2-stop strategy has come through into 3rd place there, and he seals himself a guaranteed position for the next round in 3rd place there, with Dark 74 in 4th place, with Rusty Nuts in 5th, and Slappers Mate in 6th, with Cylon and Oz Soul Reaper rounding up the top 8.
Yeah, and it looks like they did lap up to position 9 there, so bit unfortunate there for the back 6 positions there, but it's Brands Hatch. It's a short track, but will that be another thing? Woodsy has lapped everybody in the Formula Trackstars at the moment except for myself, so will that also be on the question? Will Woodsy lap me? Will he not? We'll have to wait and see come 8 o'clock. So it's a very short track, and give it probably 10, 15, maybe even 20 laps, and we might see some cars being lapped, so that may come into fruition there as well. Obviously, having back markers there, we can have accidents as we've seen in the past. So, a big congratulations to the number 19 Project 1 FP Engraving Lunacy. So, finally, he's got his breakthrough win in Formula 2 and extended his lead there over Darg 74 and Zylan 96. So,
yeah, solid performance there by Lunacy. No mistakes at all. Waited patiently to try and to see if Ando would make a mistake there, and he's come through with the victory. So big congrats to Lunacy and the Project 1 racing team for a solid win and a solid performance there for round 6 for the British Grand Prix, with Lunacy taking out the top step. That's another solid performance there by Nightwalker DJ to get back-to-back podiums. So he's building his confidence up after what was a struggling start to the season. I think after 3 rounds he was hanging around the back end of the top 15, but out of nowhere in the past couple of rounds he's shot himself up right up into the championship contention, and he'll probably move himself up possibly up into 4th place by the end of this round.
Yeah, it's obviously good to see some of the unknown faces from last year jumping up into the top of the standings. So even Slappers has definitely been my driver of the season so far. He's been in like a bit of a silent assassin there. He has had a couple of, he's obviously had a race win, and he has had obviously some top 5s and stuff like that. So from not racing last year to racing full time at the moment through F2, he's definitely doing a pretty stellar job there for WTCC.
Absolutely, and he actually got himself ahead of Xylon 96 there at the end of it. He finished 6th place ahead of Xylon. So for the championship contenders, we see Lunacy extending his lead in the championship standings there. So very good for the Project One driver, who will soon to be the satellite racing driver come later on in the main series. But so far, he's got himself extending, and I believe between Xylon still kept 2nd place ahead of Dark 74, but we do see Nightwalker 964 overtake the Rugworth into 4th place, with Rugworth hanging on to the top 5 there. So not the best race for Rugworth down in 12th place, but he'll be looking to capitalise and try and find himself back into the top 8. But what a round that has been, DJ. A lot of chaos, a lot of great racing, but one victor kept a head clean, and that was Lunacy.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid performance there, and he was a little bit wary there of Ando in the practice and qualifying, saying that he's too fast. But that is Ando for you. Ando is a very fast driver, so he's maybe being too fast for too long can bite you. But we'll wait and see. But Rugworth, going back for last year, he was actually runner-up in F2 to Viper Z. So maybe if Rugworth can kind of go back to what he was doing last year, he might be able to go back up the table, but it's a bit unfortunate there as we see some fast drivers coming through this year. Obviously, Dargs, Lunacy. Obviously, Lunacy didn't race last year, so it's it's good to see all these fast drivers coming through. Nightwalker as well. He's really picked up his racing so far this season. Obviously, being our reserve as well, so we are trying to work with him, get him a little bit faster, and increase his racecraft a bit better. But yeah, that was a very solid 26 laps there.
Absolutely, and we've got 51 to do for the main series, so stick around, ladies and gentlemen. On the Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel, Broccolilli will bring you live for Formula Trackstars for round 6 for the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch. So until then, until we get to see you guys in round 7, stay tuned for the British Grand Prix later on in an hour and a half, in an hour and 10's time. What awesome racing by Lunacy. Congratulations to our podium runners. And we will see our Formula 2 drivers next week for another round at Spa-Francorchamps in another variable conditions race, DJ. So that'll be interesting to see who we have as the main contender for victory at Spa. But for now, we'll give you guys a break for you to catch up on Formula Racing in an hour's time.